Welcome to Multi-Level Nerd. Today's video features 3D printing. Hey everyone, I'm Melissa, and I've always been interested in making things and understanding how things work. Over the past few years, I've discovered 3D printing, and it's become an obsession of mine a little bit. It's kind of a problem. I don't know about you, but if you're into 3D printing, I have stacks of filament over here, I have printers back there, parts of printers over here. It's a thing now. So, but you have to start somewhere. And when I first started printing, I went ahead and bought the cheapest thing I could find that was the biggest, because I had no idea what I was doing. Arguably, I still don't know what I'm doing, but we shall see. But I ended up buying an Arion printer, which unfortunately doesn't have as much support as some others out there. It's actually a pretty solid printer now that I know how to use it. But I ended up going ahead and buying an Ender 3 Pro, and that's been a solid printer for me, especially, learning the basics, understanding slicers and how to make your own STLs and all these different things you have to know to be able to 3D print. But, I got into the problem that a lot of people get into when they buy a lower end printer, where you end up printing mods for your printer and nothing else. And I did that for quite some time. I'm ashamed to admit for how long I did that. But anyway, I was looking for something practical to do with it, and that really came in the shape of this game, Rummy-O, or as it is known today as Rummy Cube. This particular copy is my family's copy. We've had it for probably 40 years now, many years, and it's seen better days. Let me go ahead and open it. You can hear that open. And, the tiles are kind of faded and yellow. You can see that they're pretty yellow, and but they work. The whole thing works. We use it all the time. The one thing we've noticed, because we love this game so much, is that these guys are pretty scuffed up. If you can see how messed up they are. Additionally, we're missing one of them. So whenever we play, people have to kind of prop the stand up in an awkward way. Sometimes it falls over. It's a big hassle. So I thought, hey, I think I could 3D print this. So that's the subject of this video, making one of these. Let's go. So the first thing I had to do was get a really good photo of the stand itself. And you see that here, it's just from my iPhone, good lighting, not too many shadows so I could trace. I imported that into Illustrator, and I went ahead and traced it. You can trace it, like you can do an automatic trace on it, but the shadow sometimes kind of confused it. Also, sometimes it adds a lot of points that I don't care for. So a lot of these angles were straight, so I went ahead and did this manually. And here you can see me just demonstrating the actual tool to create these vector angles and these points that make this outline for us. Once you have it traced, then you can actually export that as an SVG file. You'll see that here, that this is the result of the trace, this semi-transparent red image. And I go ahead and export it as an SVG file. SVGs are vector graphics, so you don't lose any quality. It's highly recommended to use an SVG if you're doing something like this. You can use any vector program. I used Illustrator because I already had it, but you can use something else, whatever you have available to you. And here you can see I've imported it into Tinkercad. You can see I'm demonstrating here that I extruded it to a height of 4.5 millimeters. This is, there's 60, I was demonstrating that for you. But 4.5 was what I measured with my digital calipers. And once you have that present, you can export it as an STL file. Here I've imported it into Cura, and I'm going to duplicate it. So I have two of these stands. I use my presets that I already had in place for PLA. You can use PLA, PETG, ABS, whatever material you're comfortable with. PLA is perfectly fine for this. I used a lot of the default settings that come with Cura, infill of 20, because it doesn't have to hold up the weight of the world. So, go light with that. Again, the temperature setting based on the material. Some PLA prints a little hotter than others, just depends. I'm going for broke with 70 millimeters per second for the speed. I've actually tinkered with my Ender 3 Pro. It's running Clipper, so I can get away with running 70 millimeters per second. Also, I don't really care about the finish of this, just that it's functional, so I wanted to get it printing as quickly as possible. And here you see it'll print in 28 minutes. for both of them. You can actually play around with the printing itself and just make sure it's going to do what you want. I always get fascinated by these outlines and watching it go. I don't know. There's something fascinating about watching that print head move around on the on the printer itself. But yeah, here's the actual file itself. And once I'm satisfied with it, I'll go ahead and upload that to my printer. I have Moonraker on my printer with Clipper, and I've connected it directly with Cura, so I can actually just upload it directly. You can save to disk if you want. If you're using a card, I'm using my network, so I can upload it directly through my Raspberry Pi that's running Clipper. Here you'll see that I don't start the print job. You can, though. You can actually make it start right away. I didn't, because I'm demonstrating this for you right now. But yeah, once you get it into Clipper or in Moonraker, technically this is the fluid interface for printing your actual stand itself. And yeah, it's printing at this point. You can turn the fan up, you can turn the fan down, you can speed it up, slow it down. It's actually one of the reasons I like this interface so much, is it gives you a lot of detail about what's going on. It's also a lot friendlier to whatever device you're working with. I've looked at this on a mobile device and it looks great. You know, a lot of people use Octoprint. Use Octoprint. That's great. I'm a web developer by trade, so I can't handle it, but I like Fluid. And yeah, here's the print itself. This is a little bit of bad quality because I recorded it just for myself, but this is it printing the legs. And in a second, I'll do a close-up for you. It looks really cool watching it lay down those layers, but I'm printing on a glass plate because Ender 3 Pros don't really have super great beds. They're kind of thin, and I feel like the glass plate gives it a little bit more rigidity and helps keep it flat when I need it to. But otherwise, yeah, this is printing at 70 millimeters per second, and there it goes. Quite beautiful. Let's go ahead and watch this thing print. And there you have it. I now have, instead of this busted up, broken kind of, well, it's not broken, but busted up kickstand or stand or whatever you want to call it, I now have beautiful green 3D printed ones. And, you know, they work great. We've used them on quite a few occasions already. They hold the stand up like they're supposed to. I was actually really impressed at the method that I used of tracing. I mean, you'd think tracing would work, but whenever you take a photograph, there's a shadow behind it. You can get aspect ratio issues, but really, I mean, you can't really tell, I guess, from the video, but it's real tight. The tolerances are really good. So that was really exciting to see. But, you know, why have just two? And you saw in the video that I printed these two, but now I also have gold. So I have gold and green, in addition to the brown ones we've had for so long. Why gold and green, you ask? Well, those are the filament packages I already had open. I started with the green that was a silk PLA, and went ahead and went with the gold because it's also silk, so I didn't have to change any of the presets. I could just reprint the Cura file, no problem. I think that, you know, looking back on this, I probably would have tried to use some chamfers on these. These edges are a little bit rough on the surfaces here, but you know, Tinkercad doesn't really let you do that, and it worked just fine. It extruded the height that I needed. It printed it out. These work. They work just fine, and that's really what I was going for, is a functional print. It doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to be functional. But the fun part for me is that my family now, when they pick up the game, they kind of fight over who gets to use the green ones and the gold ones, and they keep saying, "Oh, can you print pink ones? Can you print sparkly ones?" And I'm like, "Well, I do have that filament, so yes, I can." So it's been fun. Also solving a very very unique but easy to resolve problem now that I have 3D printing as an option for me. And you know, moving on, maybe you have a game that's missing a piece, 3D print it. Maybe you have a game of Sorry, right? They have those little spindle shaped pieces. You could easily 3D print a new one of those, or change the colors, or whatever you want to do. There's a lot of options there, and this option, or this method, would actually work for those things as well. Anyway, so there you go, 3D printed pieces, totally functional. If you enjoyed today's video, I hope that you'll go ahead and give it a like. I'm still building this channel, so I'm looking for all the support that I can find. And you know, if you want to be notified for new videos that come out, go ahead and click subscribe. You know, we'll all grow in this together. If you're also a multi-level nerd, welcome to the club, welcome to the channel. And you know, if you have ideas of things I could print, or you know, things that you want to see on the channel, I'd love to see comments on that as well. You know, let's grow together. I'll see you on the next video. Bye, everyone.